Well, hello there. Welcome back to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we are about all things cinema. So I'm really excited to share with you my thoughts today on Wonder Woman 1984. This movie came out in theaters and on HBO Max on Christmas Day, and I had a chance to watch it on Christmas Day on HBO Max in 4K and Dolby Vision. So in this video, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on the movie. I'm going to tell you what I think about Wonder Woman 1984, and I'm going to share with you what I think about the HBO Max presentation in 4K in Dolby Vision. So let's get started. So as many of you may know, Warner Brothers announced a few weeks ago that they're going to release their entire 2021 slate of movies same day and date in the theaters and on HBO Max. This was a huge announcement that came out a few weeks ago that rocked the theater industry. And as you can imagine, many theater chains are probably not too happy with this particular piece of news because it's going to have an effect on splitting the audience a little bit, with some people still being afraid to go to theaters because of the pandemic. This is now an option for them to watch the movie via stream through the HBO Max platform. And Wonder Woman 1984 is the first of the movies to get that treatment. All right, so right off the bat, what do I think about this film? Do I like this movie? Here's what I would tell you. I would say overall, Wonder Woman 1984 is an okay superhero movie. It's a fine superhero movie. It's a decent movie. It's not a great superhero movie. It's probably a stretch to say that it's a particularly good superhero movie. But there are aspects of this film that I do like that I'm gonna get to in my review. But my overall impression is that this is an okay superhero movie. If you're a fan of the DC, Marvel superhero movies, if you're a fan of Wonder Woman, if you like the first Wonder Woman film, definitely check this one out. I would just temper my expectations going in. It is getting a lot of hate and some people are bashing the movie, so I don't think it's as bad as some of the negative reviews that I've seen. I do think it is a decent movie, but it doesn't quite reach the heights of the original Wonder Woman movie that came out in 2017. So that's my hot take, having recently seen the movie, and I think you'll hear a lot of similar things from other reviewers as well. This is not a great superhero movie. I'm a little bit disappointed in it. I wish it was a little bit better. I think it suffers from some pacing issues, but I'll get to more of that in just a second. Okay, so Wonder Woman 1984 is the sequel to the 2017 Wonder Woman film that was directed by Patty Jenkins and starred Gal Gadot in the title character as Wonder Woman Diana Prince and Chris Pine as Steve Trevor. For Wonder Woman 1984, Patty Jenkins returns to the director's chair, and Gal Gadot and Chris Pine both reprise their roles as Wonder Woman and Diana Prince and Steve Trevor, respectively. They are joined this time by two very interesting villains, the first being played by Pedro Pascal, who plays Maxwell Lord. He is an oil billionaire tycoon wannabe who basically plots and schemes to take over the world by capitalizing on people's wants and desires. And then the second character is played by Kristen Wiig. She plays Barbara Minerva, who is a gemologist who works with Diana Prince at the Smithsonian Museum, and she befriends Diana and becomes her friend in the movie. And she starts off as a very shy and reserved character, and her story arc takes her to being a more ferocious character and becomes Cheetah in this film. All right, so I share with you my hot take on this film, that is a decent superhero movie. It's not a great superhero movie, but let me share with you the things I loved about this film, okay? First, right off the bat, I loved the characters in this movie. I loved Gal Gadot in this role of Wonder Woman. I think she absolutely kills it in this character as both Diana Prince and Wonder Woman. She brings something special to this role, and I really love her performance. I love Chris Pine as Steve Trevor. I think the two of them together is one of the positive aspects of this film. So you'll see three main storylines in this movie. You'll see Diana and Steve reunited in this film. And for those of you who saw the first Wonder Woman movie, you'll probably wonder, how does that happen? I won't spoil it for you, but the fact that Steve Trevor is in this movie was shown in the trailers, but I just won't reveal to you how that happens. You'll have to see that for yourself in the movie. I really like the role reversal in this movie from the first film with Diana and Steve, whereas in the first film you had the Wonder Woman Diana Prince character was the fish out of water. She spent her whole life in Themyscira. She left Themyscira, came into the broader world, and Steve Trevor, the pilot, had to show her the ropes in the world. And in this movie, you had Steve Trevor, who comes from 1918, is then brought back in 1984. And so he is unfamiliar with this new world that he is waking up to. And now Diana Prince is showing him the ropes in 1984. So I like that role reversal, and I like the overall dynamic of Diana and Steve in this film. I think Gal Gadot and Chris Pine and these characters have great on-screen chemistry, and I really enjoyed that. And I thought that was one of the better aspects of this film. I also enjoyed Pedro Pascal's performance as Maxwell Lord. I thought he did a great job fleshing out that character. I really enjoyed seeing the depths and the layers of Maxwell Lord's character. I loved the way the film humanized Maxwell Lord. And I won't say how they do it, but I thought it was a really nice touch what they did with his character and humanizing him, seeing his story arc all the way to the end of the film, how he evolved as a character, I found to be very interesting. So I really liked Pedro Pascal's performance in this movie. I understand he plays in The Mandalorian, and I need to get caught up on that series, so I may check that out to see what he brings to that series as well. But I really enjoyed Pedro Pascal. I also enjoyed Kristen Wiig's performance as Barbara Minerva. I like the way that she portrayed this reserved, quiet character in the beginning, and seeing the evolution of her character throughout this film, I thought was also enjoyable. I didn't get as much out of that as I would have liked, and I would say overall, I would like to have seen more of her character development. I think that's one of the areas that this movie falls short, is that they weren't able to put as much time and attention to the development of her character. It probably would have helped if they had shaved some of the Diana Steve time off a little bit to give more time and attention to allow Barbara Minerva's character to breathe and develop in this film. So overall, I really enjoyed the characters. That was one of the best elements of the film for me. The other aspect of this film that I really appreciated was the overarching themes that this film was driving for. And those themes were around the importance of truth and honesty and doing things the right way. That was set up at the very beginning in the opening sequence in Themyscira, and it played all the way through to the end. And I also enjoyed the theme around love and the importance of letting go, and also the idea that we have to be able to accept the realities of life, right? That is so important for us as human beings to be able to accept life's realities so that we can grow and mature as human beings and as people. And that's important whether you're a superhero like Diana Prince or Wonder Woman, or just a regular person like myself or you. You know, we all have to be able to accept life's realities, and we all have to be able to love as well as let go when we have to, and we all have to embrace the importance of truth and honesty and doing things the right way. So I love that the film pushed those themes. I just wish that the overall narrative was a little stronger around it. It could have made for a much better film. All right, so this movie starts with a very nice opening sequence in Themyscira, which is where Wonder Woman and Diana Prince are from originally. Diana Prince grew up in Themyscira. She left Themyscira to come to the broader world in the first movie. And so this movie starts off going back to Themyscira, and it shows a young Diana in an athletic competition. So that opening sequence set up the overarching themes for the movie that played throughout the film and got a nice payoff in the end. I only wish though that the middle part of the film did a better job from a pacing standpoint. I think that's the biggest complaint for me of this film, is that the film is just not well paced. It clocks in at about 150 minutes, and I think the narrative behind this film just simply didn't support a 150-minute runtime, and I think that's where the movie got bogged down. It was a little bit long. I think some areas of character development were neglected for others, and those are the main gripes that I would have with this movie that really kind of bring it down from being what could have been a very good superhero movie to being an okay superhero movie. I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as some of the reviews that I've seen, at least not in my opinion. I do think it's a decent superhero movie. I think a lot of people will get some entertainment value out of it, but it's just not as good as the first Wonder Woman movie. And for me, it was a little bit disappointing overall. All right, so let me talk for a quick second about one of the other areas of the film that I think a lot of people are having a little bit of an issue with, and that is the lack of Wonder Woman action in this movie. You don't see as much of Wonder Woman in this film as you might expect or that you might have hoped to see. She appears in really about 3 action set pieces in this film, and the action set pieces are really good, like the mall sequence, the highway sequence. Those are really good. Now the one at the end with the fight with Cheetah, not so great, but overall the action sequences where Wonder Woman is in are quite good. You just don't really get enough of them for most people's perspective. From my perspective though, I kind of appreciated seeing more of Diana Prince. I think it gave more time to see the alter ego Diana Prince in action and see her do the detective work with Steve Trevor and Barbara Minerva to figure out and investigate what's going on with the Dreamstone and what Maxwell Lord is up to. I actually enjoyed that aspect of it. I do think, as I said before, the narrative and the pacing just wasn't as tight as it could have been, but I enjoyed the aspect of seeing more of Diana Prince in this movie than Wonder Woman. But I think for most moviegoers, they're gonna wanna see more of the actual superhero in costume and action. I can appreciate a superhero movie that shows more of the alter ego or more of the person behind the mask rather than the suited character, because at the end of the day, that's who the superhero really is. So if you think about Iron Man is Tony Stark. Tony Stark is the essence of Iron Man. Iron Man's power comes not from the armor, it comes from Tony Stark. It comes from Tony Stark's intellect. That's what drives Iron Man. Same thing with Spider-Man. Spider-Man at his core and his essence is Peter Parker, right? So the hero is really the alter ego, and the suit that they put on is just the persona that they represent to the world when they're doing their superhero stuff. But at their core and their heart, they are Peter Parker, Tony Stark, Diana Prince, Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne. That's who the hero, really is. And so that's why I don't mind seeing as much of Wonder Woman in action in this film. I kind of appreciated that they showed more of Diana Prince. So how does Wonder Woman 1984 compare to the first Wonder Woman film? Overall, I would say the first Wonder Woman film is a notch above this movie, a notch maybe or 2 above this movie. But I will say that there are aspects that I appreciated more about Wonder Woman 1984, and there are aspects I appreciated more about the first movie. So for the first Wonder Woman film, I feel like the first and second acts worked a lot better than the first and second acts of Wonder Woman 1984. But I will say that the third act of Wonder Woman 1984 for me was way better than the over-the-top third act of the first Wonder Woman film. I felt like the third act of the first Wonder Woman film was too over-the-top, too bombastic, just had a little bit too much going on for me. And I appreciated the third act of Wonder Woman 1984 a lot better. Now, I think the overall pacing of the first Wonder Woman film was way better than Wonder Woman 1984. And for that reason, I think it's a better movie overall than Wonder Woman 1984. So that's sort of how I would compare the 2 Wonder Woman movies. And in a way, I was disappointed that this movie didn't rise closer to the same level as the first one. I'm just a little bit disappointed that it wasn't a little bit better of a film overall, and that it comes in a couple notches below the first Wonder Woman movie. All right, so how does this movie look on HBO Max in 4K and Dolby Vision HDR? Overall, I think the picture quality on HBO Max in the 4K Dolby Vision stream is very good. It looked good to me, and in some scenes it actually looked great. I would say overall it was solid. It didn't totally blow me away from a presentation standpoint, but it's a very, very good 4K streaming experience that I think most people are going to enjoy. I watched it on my Sony 4K TV that's Dolby Vision enabled, and I can tell you that the picture quality was solid. Yeah, I will say though that as I was watching this film and taking in the picture quality, the thought crossed my mind. I couldn't help but think to myself that I truly think that the 4K Ultra HD disc, when it comes out in 2021, is going to look a little bit better than what you're gonna see in this HBO Max stream. Just because it's physical media, you don't have the compression. With streaming, you're gonna have some compression of the data. You're gonna have a little bit less of a bit rate coming across on your TV. So overall, you're not gonna get quite the same sharpness and punch of an image that you're gonna get coming off of a disc. That's just my take on it. But overall, I think for most people, the 4K Dolby Vision presentation streamed on HBO Max is going to look just fine, and I think most people are going to be more than pleased with it. So double thumbs up to HBO Max on a very nice presentation. All right, so there you have it. Those are my thoughts on Wonder Woman 1984. You know, like I said before, I think this is a decent superhero movie. I definitely recommend seeing this movie if you are a fan of the DC films, or the Marvel films, if you like superhero movies, if you like Wonder Woman as a character, if you like the first Wonder Woman movie, definitely check this one out. It does have some good qualities. I really enjoyed the performances from the 4 main characters, and overall I thought it had some good entertainment value. It's just not as good as I was hoping it was going to be, and that's just my sort of slight disappointment with this film, but I certainly recommend it to anyone who wants to see it. Go check it out. It's a decent film. And when you do check it out, let me know in the comments below what you think about it. Also, let me know, do you plan to watch this movie in the theaters, or are you going to watch it on HBO Max? If you have a chance to watch it on HBO Max in the 4K Dolby Vision, what do you think of that picture quality on that stream? How does it look to you on your television? Also, let me know what movies in 2021 you are most looking forward to seeing. What are the films that you are most excited to watch in 2021? Let me know that in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll look to see you next time at the movies. Peace.